Hi, welcome to Module 3, Part 2, the second half of Chapter 2, where what we're doing here is building on our learning about research methodologies, different types of research methodologies, and different types of scholarship that people do using these methodologies. So hopefully last week everybody learned at least about the one that you had to write about, since everyone had to research one article that used your method. And those were really interesting, and hopefully we learn from that and are going to move forward and build on that in the work we do this week. For this week, you're going to finish reading Chapter 2, which some of you might have already done last week, which is great. And then we're going to do one assignment that is due on Tuesday the 5th, and this is an individual assignment where you're going to post on a discussion board about the article that you read so everybody else gets to read the good things that you did and everything, the things that you learned. And what I want you to do in this post is talk about the article and make connections between that and the field of communication. The second half of Chapter 2 discusses the field of communication, the different parts of it. So hopefully you can find some way that the article you read is also connected to one of those, and you'll post about that. This is a discussion board the entire class is in on, and you need to make your posting and also do 2 replies to 2 other students by Tuesday night at 7 p.m. So that's the first assignment. And I don't think this is going to be too hard because you just wrote those essays that were due on Friday where you talked about the article. Now I just want you to go one step farther and connect your article to communication and share your findings with the class. The second assignment for the class is each group is going to make a synthesis study guide. And what I want each group to do to work together, the 4 or 5 of you who have been working on the same method, is create some sort of a study guide that will get distributed to the rest of the class. I want you to teach the rest of the class about your method and the things you've learned about your method and the kind of research that can be done with this method so that the other students in the class can look at those, read those, and learn the kind of in-depth learning that you've already done. Now, this is the first of our small group projects in the class. So the 4 or 5 of you that have been doing the same method, you've been set up in your own discussion board so you can talk amongst yourselves and work amongst yourselves to figure out what kind of study guide you're making and to then make that and then post it. There is a leader assigned to each group, and you can see who that person is if you look under the module, click on the link to the PDF that says groups and leaders. I just randomly picked the first person at the top of the list. Everyone in class is going to get the chance over the semester to be the leader one time. So if you do it now, you will have completed that obligation, and everybody else will get to do it too at some point. The leader is not the person who writes the study guide. The leader is the person who is in charge of posting the final project and perhaps in charge of helping coordinate and get things started and getting everybody to work together to work on this project. This is a group grade where everybody will get the same points unless a person doesn't do their share. If somebody does not participate at all over the week and doesn't help in creating the study guide, that person will get 0 or however many points based on how much they've actually done. So if you only make one little comment over the course of the week in here and don't actually help your group, that will negatively impact your grade. The thing is, if your group is doing all this work, say for example in a Google Doc, which is great because you can share and collaborate, I can't see that work. So you need to make sure that you're also updating things in the Canvas discussion board. Make some comments there or tell me what's going on. Just kind of keep that dialogue going in both places. Otherwise, I won't be able to know that you're doing work. So communicate all week in the discussion board about it and get started right away because your group is going to need to turn this in at the end of the day on Friday, and you've got to figure it takes a day or 2 for people to get to it and to respond and so on. So your group is going to need to start this, and I would say start it soon, right away, right now. You can be as creative as you want to be with these projects. Just try to think about what would help other students understand this method and then include that. Maybe it's links to, I don't know, a YouTube video or something you made or however you want to do it. Teach the class about your method. Now, the weird thing this week is you've got to be careful is there are going to be 2 discussion boards open this week. The first is the one that's due on Tuesday, which is your individual paper about your methodology and about how the article you found relates to communication. That's due Tuesday. It's open to the entire class. The second is an individual group, individual discussion board that I've set up just to be you and the people in your group. This is where you should have your conversations and talk back and forth. And it's also where at the end of the week, the leader is responsible for posting the final project. So be careful to make sure you're doing your posts in the right discussion boards and that you're paying attention to that. It just can be slightly tricky. So pay attention to that and make sure you're doing it correctly. Then at the end of the week, also a quiz for chapter 2 is due Friday at 7 p.m. Just like a quiz for chapter 1. So you want to make sure you get that done and be sure you click submit before 7 p.m. because if you don't click it until after, it'll be too late and it won't count. So I'm excited about this week. I think that we will hopefully get everybody on board with what these different research methodologies are. Learning about different research methodologies is one of the primary student learning objectives for the class. It is something that will certainly be on the midterm and the final. So you need to learn about yours and about the other 6 groups that are being discussed in this chapter. As always, please feel free to reach out to me if you have questions or if there's anything I can do to help clarify any content or any assignments or anything like that. I'd be happy to talk on the phone or do video chatting or FaceTiming or whatever it is you want to do if I can help clarify some of the information. The way the teaching in this class happens is through you and I really communicating person to person. So there's no such thing as a silly question. Feel free to email me at any time and we will help. I'll try to be as helpful to help you learn the material as possible. All right, so good luck this week. I'm looking forward to these group projects and seeing the study guides that you create.